I met Kings before they were Kings Performance. They were formerly CFT at the time.
Out of here. Okay. The second everyone got in their the driver seats, they then they didn't move. They came and collected all of our licenses, cataloged us, took pictures of us, did the whole thing, and I was like,
red Mustang that he had,
Diego Higa.
Yeah, he sold it to Diego Higa.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's the Mustang.
The one that won on Hyperdrive. I fell into a lot of addictions, and those little mishaps that I had those 3 years really tarnished my name pretty heavily in certain aspects. The next day, I've fumbled the bag in comp so many times. My biggest thing in comp is my nerves. My nerves always get me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I always had something to take an edge off, whether it was,
learning to deal with them.
Yeah, I don't, now I have emotions. Now I feel emotions. Now I cry.
welcome to Slide United Tandem Talks. We have some new merch for you. Well, we pushed it last time, but some stickers, courtesy of P for Plenty over here.
Yep, nitrous. I pray to the nitrous gods all the time.
P for Plenty shirts. Link below. You can go and pick some up. Same with the UCF merch that I have on there.
Yeah, we don't have that. We're not wearing it tonight, but we don't have that.
I had to support you. Support your stuff.
Stickers will be on the website. We still got the hats, of course, as well. We're both wearing them.
Yeah. So with that, we want to welcome Willy here and George.
Howdy.
King's Performance.
Hello.
Yeah.
Poopy Racing.
There we go.
You go by many names, I found out.
Yeah, I got a couple.
Yeah. So Guillermo's one, right?
Oh my God. How'd you find that one?
Oh, someone did his research.
That's good. That's good. Hope you find a lot of things you like. We got Georgie here.
Yeah.
My brother, my right-hand man.
So Rich, sliding at S13.
Well, me. You know me.
Good old John.
What
Temple.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get it. So I guess we'll let's go back to the beginning. When the year of your birth.
Me?
What got you into cars?
It's a long stretch of things. I started racing when I was younger, in and out of stuff. I did a lot of mischief. I was younger, renegade, crazy child, basically. My dad threw me into the ring of fire when I was young. So 13, 14, and we already were playing with go-karts, shifter carts. I was learning how to drive by the age of 15. By 16, I went to my first street race, that type of stuff.
So your dad was already previously into cars.
My dad was a little bit into a lot of things. He came up a lot with the Cuban crime wave in Miami in the 80s. He was a political prisoner for Cuba as well back in his time. So he came in Mariel. He
Scarface.
Yeah, the whole Scarface introduction. My dad was there. He was under the Freedom Fighters Bridge and all that.
Yeah, that's wild.
So he has a lot of history. He owns a little museum in Miami for prisoners and fighters and VAs and all that stuff that passed away during the Revolution, et cetera, et cetera. So
he's actually been shot. That was against the communist wave of Fidel Castro. And that's why he got shipped out of Cuba.
Yeah, so growing up with my dad wasn't easy whatsoever. But he did motorsports, he did cars, he did that. He liked a lot of the wild side stuff, as I was younger. I did get really distant with him after 16, 17, 18-ish around there and started doing my own thing. I met Kings before they were Kings Performance. They were formerly CFT at the time.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew CFT in the day.
Yeah.
I've been around for a minute. I remember CFT in the day.
We used to own CFT, which is Central Florida Turbo. So that's that's the start of things. So probably when I was 17, I'm over here handing VP jugs on the dyno. Oh, this is the coolest thing ever. And then
CFT was big in the day. Yeah.
So with Rolo and all them, Sergio was the previous owner of King's Performance, which now we are the owners of King's Performance. Sergio still tunes for us, obviously.
Do you know what year Sergio was ownership from?
For CFT?
No, for Kings.
They started
2009 all the way up to 2018-ish.
Okay.
That's when I basically started taking things
I was up
over.
here in Orlando with my Subaru back in, 2012 to 2015 era. And I rolled past, in my, rig with that trailer. No, different truck, obviously. But pulled up next to a King's gooseneck with a, Dodge Dually. And next thing you know, they're handing cards out the window to me at the stoplight, and I was like, "Well, I'm going back down to South Florida. But thanks, guys. I appreciate that."
Marketing 101, baby.
Yeah.
So that was Sergio. Back
Yeah.
then. Okay.
Had the black STI 9s way back in the day.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Sergio, low key, is a huge Subaru guy. He just doesn't
Really?
He doesn't really admit it, but he is.
Oh, good to know. Good
He
to
had
know.
one of the
All
first Subarus that did go 9s way back in the day, man. This is years ago.
Okay.
And then after that, we kind of transformed into the Evos. We got the world record for the Evos, world record for the S2000s. That's when we dived into drag racing.
Talk about your first cars with the RX-8.
So my first car.
I'm sorry,
was-
it's an RX-8.
No. Ironically enough, my first car that I really learned how to drive in was an RX-7. It was an FB, bridge ported. It was my fabricator Gabby, his brother's car. We learned we were bumping Michael Jackson CD in that thing, driving around in the first gen.
Yeah, you said it was a 12A.
I think it was a 12A.
Oh yeah, I know those.
Oh yeah. Bap, 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 bap.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the whole way. So I learned in that. Then I drove an FC for a little bit. Then I did an RX-8. Then I transitioned to the Mustang, which was when I started diving into the CFRC times. So it's a little wild of a transition throughout the times of all the things I've driven. I'm not going to dive into it, but hundreds of drag cars, just street cars, like everything. 500 horsepower, 2,000 horsepower, 1,400 horsepower. I've driven it all.
Sounds like you've been kind of Orlando based this whole time.
Yeah, I've never really left Florida besides from Miami to Orlando. And it's kind of, I don't know. I've gone out to travel for events, Maryland, all over the place for stuff.
Was it FloridaStreetRacing.org? Were you like up? This is going back in the day on the forums.
I think so.
Yeah.
We were also really famous on there for street racing with the Kings cars when Kings started popping off.
Yeah.
We used to, I think it was like late. There's a video on YouTube, I think to this day. Ravi from V2 Lab always talks about it. It's like a video of like us using an S2000 and street racing everybody and their mother with it and literally winning everybody.
That's it.
That's just years and years and years ago.
I came from that world in South Florida.
Street racing made safe was popular in South Florida.
Yeah.
County line.
I've been out there.
Okeechobee.
I think statute of limitations is good now. Oh yeah, I remember County Line was a lot. Yeah.
Remember when it was like actual Fast and Furious days? Like when we watched Fast and Furious, the first Fast and Furious, and they have the whole street lined. That was County Line.
Yeah, County Line.
And when everyone scattered, because I remember watching. So my whole crew went to see Fast and Furious 1 because I predate Fast and Furious, like doing that stuff. So it was like, oh shit, like that's what's really like. Like the cops come and everyone literally is like roaches, just like scatter.
That's how County Line and like Okeechobee, a lot of homestead races were like that.
Mm-hmm.
Racing's not what it was before. Like now, it's a lot of like the younger kids, a lot of this and that, a lot of internet drama, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like, 15 years ago, it was what a private run is considered now. But 15 years ago, it's literally maybe 10 max. You guys are there, 2 guys line up, you're done, you go home. Everybody, win or lose, you're happy.
Yeah.
Now,
well, at least there's not thousands of cars lining a street and cars are going to buy at $150.
Yeah, now it's not even like no. Like now, I'll watch it on 1320.
Yeah. When they made it a felony, I was like, What got me out of that was down off of 27 down in Miami. We used to race
US 27.
Yeah, in BSO, Broward Sheriff's Office, blocked us on. They came from both sides and blocked us all in, right? So they had all of us get in our cars to go leave. They're like, "Oh, get out of here!" The second everyone got in the driver's seats, they then they didn't move. They came and collected all of our licenses, cataloged us, took pictures of us, did the whole thing, and I was like, "Yeah, it's not worth it anymore. I'm out." I'm not. Yeah,
man. But after
when that stuff started happening, that's when the crew I was with back then, we would start taking up to the 95 down by Miami where they isolate the HOV lane.
Okay.
And we would go in that lane to specifically face off against each other and slow down all the traffic behind us and then go.
That's how it is in New York now. In New York, in New York, they close down the highway and there'll be literally regular traffic and there'll just be a bunch of cars lined up racing. And it's just like, what's going on here?
One of our old fabricators talks about that.
Yeah.
As if it's
all right, just get it over with.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's like some completely normal thing. Like, I don't know. After my street racing era, though, I kind of transitioned into a lot of street drifting.
Okay.
Like the street drifting era for me was like all through my CFRC time. So,
And the Mustang was your first drift car?
yeah, like my official first, like, I'm going to go be cool and try to like be somebody and do drifting.
What kind of Mustang?
It was an S197. It was a 04, 05.
Okay.
2 valve, I think it is. Yeah.
Dog, you know.
Yeah.
It was black at first, right?
It was black. And then I wrapped it red and I put a huge wing on it.
Yep.
Big Country Laugh, shout out. They're still rocking with me till this day. They hooked me up with the wing for the RX7 that we have now.
Oh, nice.
So they're tight. Yeah, that car was like really showed me a different side of drifting at the time. You know, like, you know, you're 19, 18 years old and you're like, wow, this is fucking cool, man. Like,
Following Fello and his.
yeah, Fello with his blue E36 at the time. I did learn a lot from Fello. Like at that time is when there was a Streetwise drift was the Pro-Am series.
Oh yeah.
You're talking relics right now.
I know.
Like Streetwise, and you had
we did Charlotte Motorsports Park. They had the infield. I was there in 2012.
and you had a
You're making me feel
XDC.
young over here. This is before I got.
This
into
is
it.
like Nope era, like
Yeah.
XDC era, which Extreme Drift Circuit era. Like
Yep.
Nate Hamilton still had his like skateboarded vinyl wrap deck tester team. Like, dude, times were great.
I remember in 2012 him coming from Texas
Yep.
over
Yep.
here to drift with all of us. Yeah,
Yep.
I remember.
Yep. Those were good times, man.
Yeah.
That J-Lo and all them were still out. Dan Shilton, Pat Gooden. Like, everybody was out there shredding, having a good time. Low horsepower, too. Like, all this 800 horsepower stuff didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like,
400 or 500.
you had 400 or 500 horsepower. Dude, you were that man. Like, you were fast. But, like, now it's just the game has, like, a bit, like, it's just transformed with so much technology that we have now that it's insanely hard to keep up. So, like, back then, like, if you would have, like, 18-year-old me would have told me that we're playing with what we're playing with now, I would have told you you're crazy. Like, I would have been like, nah, bro, that's out of a movie. Like, there's no way.
Absolutely.
So, like, you know, and Wesley from, like, Injuka Racing and all them, like, we used to go, Chelsea, Hertech, all, like, dude, this is 15 plus years ago. We used to go street drifting behind warehouses on Lee Vista. Like, me and Natalie drove by, like, oh yeah, allegedly. Yeah. we drove by there the other day, dude, and I couldn't even find the warehouse that we used to drift at.
Yeah.
It's literally a huge commercial zone now that it's like, wow, this is crazy. 18 years ago, we were all here trying to figure out how to do figure eights in the rain. And, you know, I learned a lot from the Mustang because I learned a lot of little tips and tricks and tactics with the car that, like, you know, I kind of took that from 10 years ago, and then I built this new car that I have, and I kind of figured it out as I go. But obviously the car I have now is 10 times the caliber that car was. So it's like I had my first drift accident in that car. I had my first 79 curbs in that car. Like, you know,
I think people too don't appreciate, you know, back like 12 years ago, you did not have the open track days like you do now.
man.
You might get like a couple a year.
Like, I remember OSW, there wasn't no private rentals.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
there wasn't like, hey man, like, let me get the track for 4 hours. Like,
And it was an X in the middle. You didn't
Yeah.
have this. You didn't have the big paved area in the
the
middle
bank,
either.
yeah, the bank was literally the concrete.
The bank or not.
Yeah, literally.
Did they have the apron back then at least?
The apron inside the
Well, you got the bank
In
and
the
then you have
oval?
the apron. Was that
at OSW.
Yeah, was that there?
I mean, there was a lot more grass, and it was just an X, how Rich
Yeah.
just said. So, like,
It's-
the
the
apron
apron's
wasn't
just-
really an apron.
It's basically the apron's basically the same, but there was an X in the middle. But
Oh, okay.
It was more of like a shutdown.
yeah,
Like, it was more of a like, if you can't figure it out, just drive right here on the edge of this track right here.
yeah.
Get off.
It was pretty narrow, and you couldn't. I mean, you could follow people through it, but it wasn't really like you weren't like you were tandeming, but you weren't close. I remember going up there like in 05 or 06. Chelsea had a gold Miata. Remember him like up on the wall
loves
slapping the rear bumper, you know.
He loves Miatas.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
man.
he came to our shop to dyno tune.
His Miata, actually. A
Yeah.
rad Miata. He came and used our dyno.
Nice.
He's been using our dyno for a long time. Back when he was, he had the E36, the 4-door with BC, the one that had like the rear shocks in the trunk.
Sure.
Yeah, he brought that to the dyno a few times. We've had a couple.
So I saw
cool
I saw
guy.
on your red car you had you know Chris Sway for Swan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sway gear.
I go back with
Yeah.
him too from a long because he's a South Florida dude.
He hooked me up. We did a lot of things in the past. He hooked me up with like merch and stuff like
Yeah.
that. He hooked me up with designing the red livery with like the, it wasn't really a livery at the time, but just logo placement on the car. He helped me out with that. I haven't talked to him in
either.
Many moons.
Yeah, me either.
We haven't chatted in years, man. I see him on Facebook and stuff. So
he was always like super down to help out. Like,
yeah.
And I know he did. I think he did the Injuku bamboo livery. That was the last time I really like.
He did a lot of he did a lot of liveries, low key, that a lot of people don't know about. Like, there's a lot of cars that like if I look at them, I'll be like, oh, look, that's a Sway car. Like, Sway designed that. Like, it's just he's just one of those low key guys, keeps it good, does it for the fun of it.
Yeah, one of the nicest guys.
Yeah, he's
Absolutely.
Cool. I remember we had I think we had a booth. I think it was at FD Homestead when Formula Drift was at Homestead.
I was there.
Yeah, that dude. Now you're talking more moves, man.
So was I, yeah. But yeah, it was brutally hot. Yeah.
Oh my God, I had I was red as a lobster, redder than these lights.
I was like 100 pounds less.
Oh, tell me about it. Thanks. Yeah, tell me about it.
Skin was peeling bad.
So I don't know you guys' relationship.
This guy?
Yeah.
God, I barely know him.
Yeah, I know exactly. So how do you guys know? How are you guys together?
Well, I was never around for all the Orlando stuff. I just learned all that through stories of friends.
Sure.
I became best friends with all the same friends. They're
nice,
great people.
I kind of got stuck with him.
Yeah, well, no, I got stuck with him.
Oh, okay.
Because so I was already at King's. I was like shipping, and I would do whatever they need me. I was learning a lot. I think in 2016 or 17, when he came to King's to have his RX7 built, we had a fabricator there. And can I tell him a story about the Brazilians and selling your Mustang?
Sure.
We like stories. Let's go.
Red Mustang that he had.
Diego Higa.
Yeah, he sold it to Diego Higa.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's the Mustang?
The one that won on Hyperdrive?
No
Really?
way.
Yeah, that's
Shut
my
up.
Mustang, I swear.
That's why they clowned him. I mean, they clowned him because it was the first
Over the cage stuff?
Yeah.
Stop it.
Oh my
Stop it. I knew exactly where you're going to go as soon as you said clown him. I was like, oh, I remember that cage.
Yeah, so he
No.
had set up a deal to have it sold to them, and they came to the shop to have it prepped because he was trying to compete in Pro-Am.
That was when Formula D was Pro 2 before Prospect.
Yeah.
Right.
So he was coming to Orlando, and they needed a car, so his dad had bought that car off him, and they spent like a week or 2 weeks prepping the car.
Non-stop.
Every night till 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And like Sergio and Fernando were owners then.
Yeah.
And they didn't care. They cared about drag racing. They didn't like drifting. So, I mean, I love drifting. I wasn't into it the way I was now, but I loved it as a sport. So I would stay every night till like 6 a.m. and he would stay, and they would just be there working, and I would set them up with parts, get the orders, and ever since then, we've been inseparable, sort of.
Nice.
Willikers.
Yeah.
We have a similar story, actually. Somewhat smart. Well, how we met and then we kind of became inseparable once you moved here.
Oh yeah. That's a good story. I came back from my Romania deployment, and the week later I've known Greg Jones for a long time.
Romania's over there.
And,
that's far.
Army.
Okay.
And I came back and hit up my buddy Greg Jones. Was like, yo, when's the next drift event? Because I was always kind of trying to come out and go and help him and hang out. And next thing you
were
know,
intrigued.
Well, yeah, and I'd been following Formula Drift for like 3 or 4 years at that point too. But he was like, "Oh, we're having a drift event at PBIR," and I was like, "Sweet, I'll be there." Went there, got to ride along with him, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, you need to meet Mike Galati and get to ride along with him." Next thing you know, Mike's like, "Hey, you got to meet Rich." And at the end of the night, we're all packing up to leave, and then Mike and Rich are like, "Yo, you want to go to IHOP?"
Denny's, yeah.
Denny's, actually, the Denny's right there, and get some food. And that was it. That was the start.
That was the kickoff.
Yeah, we started like talking. Then he deployed again, and I helped him some stuff while he was gone. But he saw I was going to. This is when I was still going back to college for engineering, and he kind of saw what I was doing, and he started asking questions, and ended up moving up here to do the same thing. Got through engineering, and
yeah, and then to be fair, at that point, I was making the classic drifter mistake that everybody made. Was like, I'm going to build a LS Swap S14, which is the car I drive now. But
you love it.
But yeah, that was year 2 back then when I already had it and was trying to learn all the stuff about building it. So here's your proof. Classic mistake. Took me 8 years, and now I was only on the track and last
Trust
year.
me, we've been there.
Yeah.
We've been there. Trust me. But
Asking those guys questions all the time.
trust me, I've been there. But yeah, George has been like my literal brother for like the last every event I go to, whether it's been drag racing, drifting, whatever. He's been there. Like, if there's anybody I can count on, he's always been there no matter what. I mean, even if we're doing things last minute at 6 a.m. before an event, I mean, he's still there thugging it out. Like, that literally, like, nothing's really ever changed. It's something we are working with to, like, not be late anymore and, wait till last minute.
But I mean, showing up for Fuel Fest, you still made it out to grid on time. So were you really late?
Yeah, no. I made it. We had 10 minutes to spare.
Exactly.
Doing pulls and top at like 11 o'clock.
That's so stressful.
But I have a question about that. How has your role changed throughout the years from the drag racing up to drifting, and how you are involved with Willy and the drifting? Like, what do you do?
So that's a part of how we grew together. Is obviously I started at King at like 2014, 15, and they were all drag racers. 7 seconds. 1,000 horsepower build, standing next to the dyno, helping Sergio tune whatever, trying to learn as much as I can. But I always loved drifting, but just from afar. I didn't really follow FD as crazy. So when Willy came to have his car built, I like hopped on it right away because they didn't really care. There was just a business thing for them, and they knew Willy, so they didn't mind offering the business.
Yeah.
I knew Sergio and Fernando since like CFT days.
Yeah.
So like to them, it was more of a business thing. Like
Sure.
they didn't really.
It was little Willy, so it was like, whatever, we'll help him out. We got a fabricator. And just transitioning to that. I just built it the best way I knew. Version 1 of that car.
We're on version 42 now.
Tell me about it. Yeah, I get it.
I have my dad raced cars, and I built a car with my dad before, so I have a bit of knowledge and all the drag racing knowledge that I had, but I didn't know. Like, drag racing car runs 1,000 horsepower for 7 seconds, and that's it.
We shut down, that's it.
You push it in the pits and everything. Like, I didn't learn about the amount of load and stress that drift cars go through by comparison. And that was like a big learning curve. And then actually learning suspension tuning and all that. And,
suspension geometry.
Yeah.
Then we started learning about gear ratios and all that stuff.
When Fello got involved with us, we sponsored him the first time around.
For clutch kickers. When we started doing clutch kickers.
I started learning a lot more off of him.
I remember all that.
Were you guys with him at Three Palms?
Fellow went and won his FD license at the Three Palms.
Yeah, I was running grid at Three Palms.
Yeah, that's when he had the white E36 that said Carlitos tires on it.
Yeah. So I make the joke he could show up do 3 laps and then destroy the whole field of people and win. He's one of those people who
Fellow's very talented. He's been doing it for years, bro. I met Fellow when I was 18.
Yeah.
And I'm 31 now. So, I'll be 31 in April, but
he's almost 42.
But
I know he's an old guy like me. Yeah,
we have him helping at the shop right now.
He doesn't look a day past 27.
That's what I'm saying, man. That man don't age, bro.
What are you trying? You trying to get into Walter Cage or something? What are you?
I want to know the secrets of staying young and looking good.
He does. He stopped aging about 10 years ago.
For real.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with everybody that is third world country oriented. They just don't age.
Maybe I just need to switch to cigarettes instead.
Dude.
So you're already on the secret. You're good to go.
Yeah. Pizza and cigarettes. That's the secret of life. All right. Good.
He always has a new build coming up, and he just loves what he does.
That man
helps a lot too.
That man has one thing that he likes doing, and that's doing cool stuff with BMWs. I swear, because he eats, sleeps, breathes that. It's crazy to me. Yeah. But anytime I've ever had a question with an E36 platform car or a BMW car, I can call him and I'll be like, it's a socket 14, freaking this, that, the third, blah blah blah. All right, I gotta go. Okay, thanks, buddy. But it's cool.
To answer your question, mostly just whatever drag racing building cars I had, I built that, and then with Fellow, merged into drifting to learn that philosophy, and after that, that's where we're at now. I'm still learning every day.
Okay. Yeah. So you're a big image behind basically the car, let's say, it getting architected together pretty much.
The first version, yes. And then it went out to Gaubeca to have because at that point it was a stock RX7 diff.
Mm-hmm.
It had the G-force trans.
No, we started originally to do the CZ09. So the first revision of the car, we basically talked it over a lot. And we were like, screw it. We're gonna do this whole drifting thing. Like, screw fucking drag racing. Like, you know, it's the same thing every other day. Like, you build the fastest car.
Vargas RX7 chassis too. It used to be rotary.
So my car originally was owned by the guys doing all the Corvette quarter panels right now. What's his name?
945 Garage,
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, those guys. Him.
Yeah.
He owned the car originally when it was rotary. We picked it up. We went all the way to Virginia to pick it up, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
And I always wanted an RX-7 because obviously my earlier stage in life, I was like an FB, RX-8 type of thing. And I was like, oh my God, Mazdas are so cool. So whatever, there's that. So I got an RX-7, then immediately turned into my dream car.
Yeah.
So then, fast forward through the years, I ended up at King's. And then as an employee, we moved in, blah, blah, blah. George is there, da, da, da. Me and him decided to do this whole drifting thing. And then the first revision of the car, like he said, it was just like bare bones. It was stock diff. We wanted to do LS because that's what was popping at the time. Like everybody was transitioning to the LS things.
Yeah.
Then
I had done an LS Mustang swap.
Yeah, he had a he had a Mustang with LS, and I was like, dude, you're a LS guy, dude. Let's fucking do it, man. What do you want to do?
It's the Lord's engine.
The first version of the car. Oh my God, we were bending the diff in the back of the car into the back seat.
You don't know that some RX-7's FD a tinfoil.
Literally.
Nice.
It has a bar that mounts to the chassis, and the chassis back there cracked all. Like if you look at Dean's, James Dean, some of his videos, like
so it's like an E46.
Yeah.
Well, like subframe reinforcements.
Yeah.
Like it's mounted to thin metal. At least E46, they stack some metal.
Yeah, I had to throw it in there for our buddy Keegan. Though. I had to
So Keegan actually had a shop right behind our shop right now.
Yeah.
We have a corner back there. We call it the King's Corner, and we literally go. Yeah, we go drift back there sometimes.
Nice.
Or drift alleys up for us sometimes back there.
I remember some wild parties in the parking lot back there.
We do a lot of stuff back there.
We went back there to test the Z.
Yeah, I've tested a lot of cars back there.
The paint shop guy, he said, "All right, well, let me put the cars away."
Yeah, he's super cool. He'll move all his customer cars and be like, "All right, go do a rip."
Yeah,
hell yeah, dude.
Nice.
But so like the first revision, we did that. Then we sent it to Goich Motorsports in where are they located again? Naples, like Naples, Florida, around there. So you've probably heard of him. They're famous for that Pistachio RX-7 that went to SEMA.
And he just did the BMW with the
V12 BMW.
Oh, I do know that one.
Yeah, it was all over like SEMA's like Toyo freaking tire thing or whatever. He they do really good work. So our second revision of the car, we like went balls to the wall. We were like, I was still kind of learning how everything works. So screw. I know what a dog box is because of the drag grease cars, but I don't know what the Winners is. I don't know what none of this stuff is. So we kind of just made it happen. At the time, I was also battling a couple of addictions at the time too. So we can dive into that. Yeah, that was like sprinkled. That's like kind of the jump start. So, first version of testing the new car, it was just like everything was breaking. I was destroying the car. I destroyed piping. Like, it was like, we went to the single turbo on the car and we had the wrong back housing on the car. So that just disintegrated all my piping that Goich just did. So it was like, it was a huge learning curve. Then after that, we went into, obviously George was continuously changing things too.
The first one was with Harbortown Fab.
Yeah, Harbortown.
Oh.
You guys remember?
Yeah, I know Harbortown.
Yeah, so when we got the car from Virginia, I went to Tom Barnhart, Harbortown. He's a good friend of Pat Gooden and a lot of those guys.
Yep. Used to be a local drifter.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a while now.
Ages.
But yeah.
Ages. I actually...
He had that paint splatter S13.
Yeah. We just tuned a car for one of his employees. They got like a fabrication shop in Melbourne now, and they're doing pretty well, I've heard.
Nice.
We just had two of his employees, I think it was, bring us an S14 and an S2000 for tuning. That blue S2000 that Fello did the fuel pump and all that stuff on.
Oh.
Yeah, so, we talk. I still talk to Tom every now and then. I mean...
He did a lot of, the way the front crash bar is now and the rear. And I'm pretty sure he did the first version of the turbo kit.
Yeah, the first version of the turbo kit. The radiator setup before we went to...
Yeah. I know you mentioned some struggles. So one thing I've noticed, because I get this when people will see the cars out there, and they see like the, where you're at and everything. So I don't think people realize the journey it takes to get to some of these places, right? Like I know for me, I've been doing motorsports for 20 years. You know what I mean? In some form or fashion, I've been, heavily into drifting for at least the last 12 or 13. And people see you now, and it's like, oh yeah, like you just showed up one day, and here you are.
People always get that. They always think that you just spawn out of nowhere with all this stuff. Like it's like, oh, like that.
You're shop owner, and
like,
I mean, you got it made. You know what I mean? Like you own a shop, and you got this sick car
shop.
Yeah.
People don't understand what we have to do on a daily basis, day-to-day basis to have what we have. Like, I have 3 FDs now. You know what I mean? I have a 2 JFD. I have my girlfriend's 2 FRSs that we're building. I'm helping him with whatever he needs. Like, yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but you don't think about that I'm doing 24-hour days sometimes.
Yeah, they don't know the cost.
Like,
I do the true cost.
We do 12-hour days at the shop sometimes. We don't go home till 9 o'clock. Like,
daddy's money can get you.
You got off early for the podcast today.
Yes, I did. And let me tell you, it was tough. Like, it was hard. Like, but I really wanted to do this podcast with you guys because I really like the podcast ideas and all that stuff. And like, a lot of people don't ever hear our side of the stories because a lot of people always, when I first met Natalie, she was like, oh, those Kings guys are unapproachable or blah, 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 or whatever. Like, yeah, sometimes we get that image, but it's like now I'm more of a business owner trying to help everybody or, do what I can. Or how much of
it you're just so overwhelmed and
and the other
overworked.
90% of the time I'm overstimulated and I'm overstressed. I'm over this. Like, I don't.
He's not ignoring you. He's just tired. He's sleeping.
Dude,
with his eyes open.
Right now, we have grown the business to a point where I am dealing with South America racers, international racers, Australian racers. Like, I am literally doing worldwide stuff on a daily basis.
Yeah, the King's name carries pretty heavy.
Both online sales as well as builds.
E-commerce. Like right now, Sergio's flying out to Panama next week to tune like 7 cars in Panama first.
I don't think. You hit on a point too that I don't think people realize. Like your reputation, the name is like everything in a business like this. Like, if you lose it, like it's real tough.
I like to say that we paved the way for a lot of smaller businesses that are doing the same thing as us that are recently open for like the last 5 or 10 years now, because we were there very early, like the pioneers in certain things in Central Florida. So like now, every business has its ups and downs. Every business gets talked on. Every business gets, glamorated. Every business in this industry has, oh, they did this, they did that. They're great. I love them. I hate them. Whatever it is. I can say I wasn't the best for my first 3 years of ownership, but taking a business on of this scale, as well as trying to do your own motorsports program, is like literally awful.
Yourself,
and working on yourself, it's awful.
No, having a life, exactly.
It's literally awful.
Yeah, that is the life.
I had no idea. Like I was young and dumb. Like I literally took on this huge business at like the age of 26, 27. Yeah. Like, I'm still in my 20s, dude, and I have a shop that does X amount a month. Like it's insane to me. So. I fell into a lot of addictions, and those little, mishaps that I had those 3 years really tarnished my name pretty heavily in certain aspects. So like some relationships I had with people, relationships I had with customers, really, like I had to rebuild a lot of my relationships, aside that people don't see. Yeah, I may have been with Sergio for the last 15 years of my life with everything I've done. He did give me his business. I worked for him at one point. Me and him broke off for like 5 years.
Oh, really?
Okay. Because I lost myself to alcohol addiction. I had like my own opiate addiction. Like I had some serious addictions and I had to find help. And people don't see that. Like people see like, oh, like he's a drug addict or, oh, he's an alcoholic. Like, no.
Just won't label you.
Like I had.
It makes you do things.
Yeah. And it's like, I have no control of that. Some people have weird fetishes with whatever it is. And that's an addiction in itself. Some people chew water bottles.
You can be addicted to working out. I mean,
there's
the personality. Yeah,
there's addictions that people don't talk about and don't
know.
To
get addicted to working out again.
Yeah, so it's like try battling all of that and then trying to better yourself as well as keep your relationships. I lost George for like 2 years. Yeah, like that was a huge impact to me because at the time that's the only person I knew that was like my safe haven.
Sure.
So. I didn't have him, so it was like, oh, my car, like my drift program's out the window, like everything's done, like, screw it, I'm gonna go drink some more. Like, that's never the positive side to do, fixing yourself. So it's like, battling all of that stuff, and then fast forward to now, to where I've been sober almost 3 years. I met Natalie. Things are going great with me and her. So my relationship status takes a huge toll on the business side of things. So it's like having a good person on your side really, it's the same with any business owner can tell you. If they have a good wife, a happy girlfriend, whatever, everything goes full circle. You have a good person like George on your team, everything goes full circle again. So it's like it continuously to go as a full circle. What people do not see is the struggles of being your own business owner, running your own motorsports program, dealing with international customers at 2 a.m. while you're trying to sleep, while you're in Florida and they're in freaking Australia asking you for some injectors. Like they don't see
every
that.
customer thinks that you're their personal salesperson.
I don't stop working, and everybody literally around me hates it. I am 24/7, Monday through Sunday, Christmas, freaking everything, dealing with all that stuff. And the biggest thing that I struggle with, let me correct myself, was the whole addiction thing with being a business owner. Like I lost everything, like back in 2021. Like I was in like $150,000 worth of debt.
Yeah, wow.
I had, I lost like my Freightliner. I had like a whole toter home. Like I had a whole bunch of stuff, and I had to literally sell everything, hand everything off to reconcile legal things, court costs, things like that. So to this day, I look back on that type of stuff and I'm just like, no, like we're not ever doing this again. Like I will not pick up a drink even if you paid me.
Yeah,
because I know what comes with it and the repercussions and all that stuff. Like I know. So a lot of people in my corner, now that marijuana is legal and all that stuff, a lot of people in my corner, obviously in our facility, they have also chosen the path to supporting my sobriety. So it's nice because everybody now on our team is just more clear-minded of certain things.
Sure.
So as a team, like we are so small, but we are also so strong.
We battle a similar issue keeping our clearances for work. Like
we have security.
Have those type of people within our circle.
Yeah, so that's one thing. Like I at the shop now, like I've gone through so many different hands since I've had the business, and it sucks because you'll have one person that works for you that really does great work, but then has such bad, habits with certain things.
Sure.
I can't have that in my corner. I mean, I'm sorry. Like I fought addiction for 3 years, bro.
Yeah.
Like I can't do that. Like that affects my driving, that affects my business, that affects everything. So now the biggest thing that I struggle with now is balancing my personal life, my business life, and my motorsports life. It's impossible. Like
I was going to ask if maybe you're on such a path of growth where you're now struggling to find the right kind of people you could bring in to help kind of alleviate or delineate or, give more roles to people to kind of take some of that load off of you.
So like right now in the office is only 3 of us. It's me, Natalie, and George.
Trust is a big thing.
That's the thing.
Okay.
At least in terms of business.
Like my trust issues and my PTSD is through the roof. Like I had a team of people once that, we're not going to get into detail with that one, but like we had a whole car that was literally taken apart and just
I remember.
Like hands clean, like $100,000 out the window. Like, and people like moved to Puerto Rico. They did whatever and never seen them again. So it's like, after something like that happens to you as a business, you kind of like really shut yourself down and you're just like, I can do it all myself. I don't need nobody.
And then every time, I call it like eras of technicians that we've had. And like every time an era ends, I think, okay, we learned our lesson. We should be good. And then a new set in, and then when the new lesson is learned.
Yeah.
It's a continuous learning experience. Yeah. And it's like, it's one of those things like John just said, like growth. Growth is a huge thing. Like, I don't like people think, like I said, like you spawn. Like people just think you just woke up and you just have all this stuff. Like, yeah, we got all these cars. We got this race car. We got a great race team now. Like
mommy and daddy support it. But
like,
you're working with this company, that company. And
yeah,
it's like, you don't know that you like.
Oh my god, these guys are rich. Like they have it all. They're rich, dude. Like no, dude. Like the
money, like the experience, there's so much more than just money. I know money is very important. Money makes the world go round.
I noticed too with friends of mine who've been shop owners, especially like performance shop owners, and this is something that always like was weird to me. Like it would never be okay for like their friends just come and hang out at their job, right? With their, whatever job that is.
Yeah, we deal with that.
right. Like, and I'm like, hey, yeah, but like, it's a professional place of business. So
that's exactly how
they don't draw that line where it's like, they can come hang out with you and just distract you for 3 hours in the middle of your work day.
Those 3 hours are expensive.
If you're there, yeah, exactly.
Time is money.
You got to place a price on your time.
Yeah.
What do you charge per hour for labor? Whatever.
Yeah. Something that we're learning too. It's really hard with friends to be able to draw that line. Really can be really nice, and
if they really support you though, they'd understand and respect that. At the end of the day,
I've learned over the years, man. Like I've learned, like you have to learn to separate yourself from. You gotta know, like business is business and friends is friends. Like I am all for helping all my friends out. Like I don't mind, but when it's time for me to sit there and spend 6 hours invoicing, like that's what I'm gonna do. Like I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be a dick. But it's like, I have friends and family that they're always messaging me about their cars and stuff. Like, oh look, I want to buy this for my car. Oh, I want to do this. Like, dude, I really do not care.
Can't be spending out their build for 12 hours a day.
Yeah, like I it's not that I want to be a dick, but it's like I literally deal with performance industry like literally every day of my life. There is times that I do want to spend with my girlfriend and our new puppy and like not care about anything. I don't really care about your car right now. Like I would like to have these 2 hours to myself. And that's one of the other things I struggle with now. So it's an ongoing thing.
I make it a point with my shop owner friends too. Like if I have a question, I'm close enough with them. I know I could ask them. I will not message them on the weekend. You know what I mean? Like I have like a hard rule. Like I will not do it unless like there's been very few circumstances where I've either like not realized it and even then I'm like, oh crap, like answer me Monday. I forgot,
Like where like I
take a similar approach. I might message on the weekend, but if I don't get a response until Tuesday, it was the weekend.
Yeah. So it's like a lot of like people in this industry, they struggle with understanding that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't think like especially when we're at the track. I hate when people ask me stuff at the track. I literally
be focused on what you're on.
Dude, I'm trying to like you go racing, like y'all go have fun. Why can't I?
Customers that come to the pits to like ask stuff about orders and stuff, and it's like
I literally had that happen to me at Fuel Fest.
Yeah,
really?
I had a guy come up to me at Fuel Fest, and he was like, "Hey man, like, I just called the office this week." I'm just like,
boundaries is like a big deal.
I gotta go, dude. I gotta go drive. Like, send an email, bro. Like,
fire,
like my power, like our power steering line's burned down. Dude's like asking me about his car. I'm like, are you serious? Like,
hey, I ordered parts a week ago, bro. Where are they at?
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's cool. Like I said, with growth comes all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like. He has 900 tasks to do. Natalie has 900 tasks to do. I have 9 million tasks to do. So it's like there's a very tense environment at some points through the day. And it's like when I was younger, I would love to go hang out at my friend's shop. I would love to go bother Sergio and Fernando at freaking Kings or CFT when I was younger. Yeah. But it's like now being a business owner and seeing like how it is, it's just like, wow, I can't believe I used to be that guy. Like, I can't believe I used to do that.
That's part of the growth, part of the young to get wiser.
We recently purchased Sergio's dyno. So now ever since we bought that, now it's just like it's another
the dyno time for
that like people always want dyno time. Like I offer my services to people I feel like deserve it.
Yeah.
Like if you're a pioneer in this, if you're struggling, if you're not, you don't have a title sponsor like John, for example. John is self-funded.
Yes.
You are your own sponsor, basically. You don't have much backing you up on your drift program besides a couple hands that do help here and there.
Correct.
He's at events almost as much as he can. Why would I want to help John?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He has skin in the game, so it's like,
oh yeah.
Put some skin in it.
That's why, like, I've offered, we've already talked about this. Like, I've offered to help John out with dyno time because John spends 10 hours on our dyno figuring stuff out, and I know he's by himself. So it's like, why would I charge him to do that when he's trying to do what I've been doing for the last 10 years? You know what I mean? We've been racing and doing all this stuff for years. So like, certain people deserve to be helped. So certain people deserve to get that extra reach to what they need. Then you have people that come in, they just want like, hey man, like let me throw a sticker on my car and come on, bro.
And to be clear, like we want to support local people too. Like
that's all it
was actually really nice to hear that you got the dyno because we've been going to Sergio's dyno.
No, I know.
Last couple of years,
right?
And been this time around I wasn't so lucky, but it was pretty much a one and done kind of deal. And then if I had to schedule what I had to go through this year, with where Sergio was with the dyno last year, man, I'd still be trying to figure things out because it was so much more difficult.
That's why
the access to the dyno was easy.
That's one of the things that we've been focusing on is like making it more accessible for like the racers and people like that need it, because we're able to create our schedules how we want. George knows how to run a dyno because he ran it literally half his career at freaking Kings earlier. So like he said, with the drag cars and all that stuff, he's been doing that. So there isn't a car that he can't strap down that I don't trust. So
I know you guys jumped on. So we with the student program, like you guys definitely like you were like we're one of the few people that right away were like, hey, like you help, and it's actually it's been a huge help. Your services with the 3D scanning and everything. It's I can't tell you how appreciative the students have been and like them responding to that.
The reason I have that is because when I got into it, there was like everybody gatekeeps. At least in drag racing.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to share.
That's the one thing I didn't like about drag racing community.
Same.
I teach everybody on the team on how to read data logs. Like Natalie knows how to look at data logs, and like people won't show you how to do tuning stuff.
My man's was at a wedding and he was teaching her how to do data logs for round 4, I think it was.
Nice.
Yeah, I had a similar experience in the road racing world. It was more or less that everybody that was your pit. Everybody kept to themselves.
Yeah.
That's how it is with drag racing.
Am I not here to race with other people and meet other people?
Yeah, like
there's no social aspect.
The community aspect of drifting is amazing.
The big thing too is like in motorsports is it's not how much money you have. It's not what you have. It's like who you know and who you're able to branch out with. You know what I mean?
Part of our success
like
too, I feel like King just
he's going to school to be a mechanical engineer, right? So.
when you graduate, we will welcome you into our brotherhood.
I want to have a party at the shop for that.
We understand. We know how difficult that is. Like I tell people all the time, like, oh, you want to be an engineer? You had to want it really bad.
So like
to put up with going through school for that.
One thing that like I salute George for a lot is like not only dealing with my bullshit, because like I'm a handful. Like I dump so much offload on him that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like he dealt with like my recovery, he dealt with my addictions, he dealt with all our drag racing bullshit. Like like there is so much stuff that I can go off on that he has dealt with that he shouldn't have had. And at the end of the day, he's a full-time student going to school for mechanical engineering. He still shows up to work and he still stays till 6 a.m. finishing my car.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing more than a full-time job and going to school full-time.
Like that's insane.
That's impressive. I was not able to do that.
That's insane to me. Like
it's like I just love it because I had a job, programming CNC machines for Granite.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you've got a little bit of that.
I'd have to
try to get
sit
one
there, and like I could watch TV shows. They didn't care what I did. I got paid pretty good, the hourly rate.
Yeah,
and I just I would do that, and I would leave to go help Willy at the shop afterwards.
Yeah,
and I couldn't stand there 8 hours.
Yeah,
all I had to do was just sit there and do nothing for 8 hours. I programmed mindlessly at that point, and I just love cars so much I couldn't get away from it.
It's kind of like that with any sort of machine shop work, like the guys that I worked with at Knight's Armament and all the, all the different machines that we were using. A lot of the guys that were running the machines just,
every
move the part, press the button.
Everybody in his industry that's ever made it is like, I like to say is like, you got to want this shit. Like you have to love it, not because you're going to get clout off of it or because you're going to get something out of it. Because, like, honestly, like, we don't get anything out of it. Like, it's more of our personal enjoyment.
I was going to say, that's what we get out of it.
Yeah, it's like personal enjoyment. But other than that,
pride and
driving in the truck and trailer at the end of an event, even after, yesterday when we were all out at the track, and I didn't even drive, I was still smiling my ass off.
Yeah, man. The ride to the track in the truck and trailer with your rig, bumping music with your guys, like, bro, that's...
Yeah.
Zero sleep pulling up to
like it's great. Like sometimes it does suck because you have no energy the next day. Like I've fumbled the bag in comp so many times. My biggest thing in comp is my nerves. My nerves always get me. So it's like I can do qualifying just fine. I can do my first 2 battles just fine. And then I don't know what happens. It goes out the window because I get nervous about something or my car is acting up and it completely messes with my mindset.
These guys give me shit about that because I don't really have that problem.
He's like a sociopath. He's like that doesn't affect him. He's just like, whatever.
And it's very simple for me to explain it. I played very high level competitive baseball all through high school. I played in San Domingo and played international and stuff like that.
I know that.
Yeah, so for me, getting into pulling up to the line, warming up in the on deck is like the burnout box. And then as soon as you pull up to the line, it's like digging your right foot into the batter's box and stepping in, and then it's
Loading up.
they just light
I'm,
switch.
I'm the one who feels all the nerves.
Yeah.
like when he goes, I'm the one who's like, oh, come on. Yeah.
I have a good support team on my side. Like Natalie's very supportive. Like I said, like right before I sobered up, I met her and like things kind of came full circle. That's been a very big thing for me. George is also like you, like he's stressing out.
Yeah, but we're all nervous at the moment.
Like everybody's freaking out. Like it's freaking like I'm like a loose cannon. Like I don't know. Like what is he gonna do? Is he gonna do this? Is he gonna do that?
Pointers like maybe do this. Like we made a mistake. I made a mistake giving him when he was competing in the 350Z against Adam.
And yeah.
You got to get a head start on him. So before the light even goes up, roll it out.
So like in drag racing, we do this thing where we preload with like car, like on the handbrake or something, so you can get the jump at the light.
Yeah.
Same thing when you're playing like the tree game at the drag strip, So he's telling me, he's like, tree him. He basically told me tree him, like, tree him. And I love treeing. Like I love trees. And
the way he initiated, like swung it, lunged really hard,
but
wigged Willy out.
So too excited.
That was round 2, right?
No, that was OSW event.
Oh, that was OSW. Oh, I was loaded with the trailer. I missed it.
So he told me to do something that completely changed my driving style of what I'm used to.
We gotta gap. We gotta be right there.
So what are the roles of everyone on the team? So are you like the crew chief? Who's like your spotter?
So he's the crew chief.
Okay.
I mean, we all do everything.
Everybody, I like to say that everybody's an all-in-one.
Okay.
Because Natalie is a spotter, but she also checks data logs. So it's like
I get it.
Constants of every event.
Yeah.
Maybe the technician we had for that era, if I'm talking history, will be there. Or like we have friends that'll show up for us. Ciel that works for Goich.
Yeah.
Fernando that works for ACH.
Advanced Cylinder Heads.
They do really good machine work.
Does everyone now though have their kind of like so I know you said like for instance Natalie spots and then we'll check data logs. So is that kind of like her like role now when you guys? I'm trying to understand like how you guys operate.
We're trying to take it from traditional terms to how you guys
Honestly,
pull it
we're the
off.
most disorganized.
Okay.
It works.
All right.
It works.
That's what I want to know.
But,
That's what I'm curious about.
So
If the car is good, then all I have to do is check data logs, and hopefully we'll have a tire guy there and they'll help us swap tires.
Yeah.
This year,
Smoke a cigarette and chill.
yeah, because I'm so like I'm always on edge, man.
Yeah.
Like now, like and a big a big thing with that too is like my whole sobriety thing. Like I always had something that would hold me off somewhat. You know what I mean?
I got
like,
you.
I'll take the edge off. Gotcha.
yeah, like I always
Got
had
you.
something to take an edge off, whether it was
Learning to deal with them.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't like now I have emotions. Like now I feel emotions. Like now I cry. Like
You
now
gotta deal with it, right?
yeah, like now I know what it feels like to see your best friend get married. Like
Rich
you know?
gives the best hugs.
Yeah.
you need somebody to
Yeah.
give
So
up
like
on your
now, like sometimes I'll be at grid, man, and I'll be like, damn, I'm in top 16, dude. And I'll get my eyes watery
Yeah.
in my helmet.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool. I get really giddy.
Yeah.
And before, when things were going south, like I always had something to take the edge off. Cause like I said, I used to take antidepressants, anti-anxiety stuff like that, pain meds, et cetera, et cetera. So like I was very accustomed to the numb feeling for many years. So now that I don't have that, and now that I'm working with that, it's just, I don't know, man. It's an undeniable feeling, man.
I can tell you it's normal. Like,
it's crazy.
like I have these moments sometimes where like I'll think like things I've accomplished and like where things are at, and I'd be like, damn, like I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah.
Like it's just like it's overwhelming for me.
I tell Natalie all the time. I was like, wow, dude, like I feel emotions now. Like I feel this now. Like I've never felt that way,
Yeah.
And now this year we're trying to do things a little like George said, we're very unorganized to an extent because
It
we
depends who show up to help. Like we're the constants.
Okay.
And
All right.
if we have like, let's say this past weekend at Fuel Fest, we have Fernando. He's very knowledgeable.
and Giselle.
Yeah, and Ciel, they're very knowledgeable. So
Yeah.
like, we can look at a problem, we can delegate between each other, and okay, let's handle it like that.
But they know to kind of like follow your lead though.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're so
Everybody
that's
has opinions, and we talk it out. Like,
Yeah.
I'll delegate, but like we'll decide together. I don't really have final say.
I get frustrated easy. So I'm like, listen, George said do this. Can you please do what George said? Please.
Yeah.
Thanks. But like, it's more of a, like right now, like this year, like he said, we're unorganized. We've been like that for like the last 4 seasons. This year I'm trying to do things. I feel very comfortable where I am right now in my driving status to where I want to do things in our driving proposal, we do have our lineup for our teammates and all that stuff. So I'm trying to get it, you know, more official, I guess would be the way, or more organized. So like, I do want our team to have roles. You know, I want, you know, a tire tech. I want George to be the overseer, like crew chief. You know, like now you either do spotting or do, you know, something. Like I want everybody to do something, because at the end of the day, if you're unorganized, your team's doing a bunch of stuff, like whether it's working or not, at the end of the day, it's still a cluster. Like you're going to bump heads, you're going to run into everything. This guy's going to say one thing, this guy's going to say the other. It's always going to be a constant thing. Yeah. So like, you know, that is our goal for Pro-Am this year, is to do that. You know, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, we'll keep driving. But, you know, that's where we're at.
I kind of like it.
I learned the hard way on, so it was with Injuku and Pro. I forget if it was Kevin or Nate, but one of them, we had a 5-minute call and somebody touched the car before they were supposed to touch the car.
Oh, God.
So, like,
We mention this every time we talk about 5-minute. We have like, sometimes we'll have like a pre-briefing. You know, it's like, hey, remember, competition timeout, no one touches the car.
Yeah, no one touched. So, like,
We almost did that too.
So I reserve, like, I reserve that role for in that moment. I'm like, unless you hear it from me, you don't touch the car. You know, we can, you know, look or whatever, but like, I'm the only person on the team who can say yes, go. You know, just for that reason, to not make that mistake again. So yeah, I've seen from experience with that stuff, like that can.
That I had to pick up on.
Yeah, those are little things that'll get you sometimes. Yeah.
I won't have you for that this year though.
Well, we have
driving
one of
your
the
own
rounds
car.
at least, but yeah.
Only OSW, I will have you.
Yeah, we've picked up on the 5 minutes thing. So that's another reason we're building a new car, because there's absolutely nothing I can do on my current car that I could do in 5 minutes. So
Yeah, that is a mindset you have to. That's a build theory you have to kind of like put in it, or philosophy you have to put in your car. Yeah.
Luckily, I mean, never had any catastrophic something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, small things here and there, but for the most part, we're able to at least finish the event.
Yeah.
Drive the car on the trailer.
one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it all, like, to answer your question, it all depends who shows up to help that weekend.
Do you have any like rituals? Was there any like you know, things you like have to do every round?
He
like,
likes to try to like.
place got to stop.
He tries to condition me like an F1 driver. He's got me doing all this,
Literally.
you know, all my reaction stuff.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I keep trying to get him to do that, and he hasn't been doing it. But
I actually want to buy for the trailer, like, sick or
the lights.
Yeah, so we can get that
All right.
going.
I'm gonna swing over before I'm ready to drive. Then and
Yeah, come on over, man.
Yeah.
You're always welcome to my trailer.
Vaughn does the hat thing. He puts like the ball on the rubber band on the hat, and we'll hit it.
Oh,
So we can
really?
do that.
I don't know
So
that.
you do the videos.
With the
Yeah.
As far as rituals, I mean,
He also plays music through the headset.
oh yeah,
Really?
Right before qualifying, he'll
you
play.
guys use radios?
Yeah,
Okay.
so my helmet has the headset all built in and all that.
He'll play music through it.
Yeah, he'll freaking hold the radio and I'll start playing next to the speaker and I'll be in the car like,
a lot of times you wait
Yeah.
a while, and like
What kind of music are we talking about here?
it really
What's
depends.
your favorite? Like,
Lil
do you
Wayne.
need chill or do you need like
Fireman.
something punk?
No, I like hype music. Like,
Yeah.
like old school. Like, so I like a
Gucci
lot of
Mane.
old school Lil Wayne. Like,
Sick.
Okay.
like
okay.
Carter 4, Drought 3, like, you know.
All right.
you know.
I'm learning more
The
about
block
you right
is
now.
hot, 95, you know. Like, I like that old era music. I don't
Yeah,
really
we're gonna
like.
have to see what your routines are gonna be this year.
I know. I'm not sure yet.
I'm weird. I don't want to do anything. I just sit in the car. Sit in the car, and you know, unless there's something that you need to report to me, I don't want.
The problem is with me is I'm so scatterbrained. So it's like if I'm sitting on grid too long, dude, and I'll just start thinking about random shit.
See, if I get out to the grid too early, I could fall asleep in the car.
Dude,
And has
Yes, and has.
he has fallen asleep in the car on grid? I just want to be clear about that.
It's nice and cozy in there.
Yeah. What's his face? Who runs the grid for Jackson? Brain fart. I've told him, hey,
Colton.
Colton.
There you go.
I've told Colton, hey, if it's my turn and I don't look at you, you need to come wake me up.
Like slap the helmet or something. Yeah.
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 That's cool.
I usually do we'll kind of game plan like certain like key talking points, and I'll I think it's more my nerves than anything else, but I'll have to when he's getting ready, I like to kind of hey, remember these 4 key
That's me.
Yep.
elements that we kind of went into this. You got this. Here's the 4 things we talked about. Go do your thing.
He's been trying to get me to listen to him on a restart light. It's because I'm awful at my restart light. I will completely blow through the restart.
I won't talk to you throughout your run. If I talk to you, it's because I want you to stop.
Yeah. There's a reason.
Yeah. Our rule is don't talk on the radio while I'm driving unless I'm on fire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing we're working on.
So for us too, we some traditions are now. I have a smoker at home, so I make pork butt and bring it to the track.
Oh yeah, that's a great.
I'll do that the day before the event, and then I'll bring it and we'll heat up on the grill.
You got some now?
You missed out on it yesterday.
Yeah, we have yesterday.
It's a private day.
Yeah. So that's kind of been a thing now. Every time we go to the track, almost every time.
Me and Natalie were living in the moment.
We'll throw down.
Yeah, all right, I got you.
I'm down. Maybe we can like park close to each other this year, and
That's what I'm saying.
I'll bring some steak.
Yeah.
I got the grill, so it makes it easy to warm stuff up or whatever you need to cook.
So,
Don't me to a good time.
You may not know his nickname, the Muffin Man.
What?
Oh God.
he's real thrilled
That's
that
ruined for me now.
Yeah.
Well, so my very first competition round ever was 2022, the doubleheader weekend at Sebring,
Okay.
and it rained, and I got iced on the line as the last driver because I was the first driver. I was the new guy, right?
Right.
I got iced on the line for 15 minutes.
Oh.
So after that event, I decided I'm not going to get iced on the line anymore, and I'm going to bribe my way into it. So every Sebring event, I bring Costco muffins and put them in Jackson's trailer and make sure that all the staff know that they're there and get one.
Sticker on.
And we the crew get to eat some muffins too.
Yes. I save muffins for ourselves.
I'm gonna call you the Muffin Man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you're gonna be called the Muffin Man. I'm gonna change your name on my phone.
Sick. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the gate girls have started calling me Muffin Man for the last several rounds.
Oh, look at that.
It's the right move.
Because I'll bring them muffins too when I go to sign in to get the wristband and whatnot.
Well,
Yeah, if we're talking about ritual, it's just showing up, finishing at 3 a.m. the night before.
All right, and yeah.
Yeah, so our ritual that if we would have one is just showing up at the last minute because it's like all week, we're gonna do it, and then we work a little bit every night, but it's like tired, and it's like the Friday, finishing up work, and it's like
The best thing about like I don't know, man. Sometimes it's like one of those things. It's like you knew like for 7 months about this, and it's like you wait till the week or the day or 3 days of to do anything, and it's like it's cool because like it actually gives you like it lights that fire in your ass to go.
Okay, car's ready, we're good, and then we put it on the dyno. We like to have a few dyno pulls, check some data log, make sure everything's good, and then something will go bad on the dyno, and then it's like
as an observer of like teams, because I've been a senior design advisor at UCF Engineering for like 5 years now, and I've noticed like some teams just function really well under that like last minute. And I've as their advisor have learned like as long as they're meeting deadlines to let them like
literally
that's they can function that way, like roll with it.
That's why I say I like it because that's how I am. I mean, it's not good, but that's how I am in school. Like I did a senior design with my brother-in-law for like a Shell Eco marathon.
Yeah.
And like we were still finishing the car at Texas in like the little square pits that they give us, testing it in their back loading dock.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm used to it, and it's like how they say if you've done it this long and it works, like you're not going to learn from it. And I failed a few times because of it, but for the most part, it works.
The only thing that I hate about it is sometimes like if something does happen, you have no time to get that part. Like,
yeah, we are kind of the opposite. We're pretty prepared.
Like.
But that's what I was going to say also. It adds to Willy's stress because, that's why we're also doing the new car to make sure we do everything right. And it's like, that stress is added when you're trying to compete and you think, as a car.
Like, there's no talking to me during the week of like an event. Like, I am literally a bat out of hell, bro. Like, I am on my last hair. Like, you can sneeze on me, bro, and I'll like blow up. Like,
the times that he says, "No, we're not going. I'm just gonna
sell the car. I'm gonna go."
Oh, it's one of those. Yeah, yeah.
I'm kind of amazed that you guys operate so well under that. Like when you elevate that level of stress so high. For me, I can definitely operate there too, and I hate it, but I do amazing things. But I always crash and burn. Afterwards, it's always like and he's seen it. I'll be quiet for like 2 days and be like, "You okay?" To be like, "Yeah, I'm just pulling back up from going way too hard." Yeah,
I get like that too, man. My body crashes and gives out, and then sometimes it doesn't even crash. It just gets like very overstimulated or like overwhelmed or overworked to like between the shop and then managing the race program last minute. It's like, bro, I am literally the worst person to deal with during that time. Like, I will send you off a cliff. Like, I do not want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to answer my phone. Like, you can literally text me and be like, "How's your day?" and I probably send you to hell. Like,
Yeah.
And
I just
like,
hate it.
Like honestly, that car is like the least competitive car. Like it's not a good
Really,
car.
the FD that you have currently?
It's like we fight so much. Like I have 22K spring rates at the front
What?
because of how heavy. Like if you see us in OKC when like the first version came out, like the car just nosedived from how much.
I guess I'm not normalized on like FD spring rates, but like really they're that high.
One thing
on a stock DC, FD spring rate, and the car just nosedives on every transition.
So-
What's their off the shelf spring rate?
I think it was like
8K, I
10K
think?
or 11K.
Yeah, one of those.
Okay, that sounds fairly normal.
Like,
and you're
we
at
went
22.
We went up to 16, and like you still see the car just like every time it just disrupts so much when you go to transition or something. And it's
Yeah.
like, I've gone up 22K. We've got the Sicky sub
Sway bar.
Does
we bettered it a little bit more.
Do you feel like understeer from it or anything?
So I will say this: like, over the last 4 seasons, we've learned a lot about the car.
Yeah.
The FD is literally the hardest
FD
chassis
with
to
the
drive.
Oh, yeah. Got it.
FD with a chunk of.
Do you know what the weight distribution is in it?
Probably terrible.
It's probably awful.
Is it? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
Like, kudos to Mad Mike, because like, what the hell?
Mad Mike's running a rotary.
Yeah, he's running rotary. Yeah.
But James Dean's is an SR, so it like makes
Was an SR.
He's like
4-rotor now.
Yeah.
So,
It's bad rotary. Yeah.
But it makes sense, and like you throw a chunk of steel in the front of that car,
Yeah.
and it does not like do well.
Yeah. And think about that.
So like,
Rotating around the motor.
So the new chassis that you're building is another FD, right?
yeah.
And it's also LS.
Like
So
I
what
said,
do you-
like I
So
said,
what are you gonna do
earlier-
different? What are you doing different?
Like I said earlier in the podcast, I have a really weird obsession with FDs now.
Yeah.
One thing I told him we should have gone with aluminum block, but
So the new
It's like
car,
80 or 90
so-
pounds, but
we're moving weight off of because we have the turbo kit that hangs in front of the motor, so you get a lot of.
So, like,
weight.
the one thing that's really exciting about the new car, we hope to debut it at SEMA this year. That is going to be the plan. We
are
haven't-
you gonna have a booth or you?
I'm going to
or someone
probably
else's?
squeeze in with someone.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah, that's what I was curious.
we have
about.
some stuff in the works. Yeah, we have some stuff in the works that we haven't really unwrapped yet.
Before with the purple one, but
Yeah.
I don't.
We weren't too happy to bring that car out like that.
Yeah.
Like the car looks cool. People love it online. People also hate it because it's an RX7 and LS. But I get a lot of hate on that stuff too, which it doesn't really bother me because I don't know. I love the car, but
You got to build cars for you, man. Like,
yeah,
you can't be
exactly. I
building
don't
for
do
the
it for
internet.
anybody else, man.
Yeah.
That's sort of why we want to leave it because it gets so much attention. They brought us a lot of our sponsors. Like
Yeah.
at this point, it's just a cool car.
Demo car or whatever.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're
Yeah.
gonna make the purple car a party car. With him picking up the 3D scanning and all that stuff, like we haven't posted much about the new car, the new FD, but we're everything we learned on the purple car, we're implementing it into the new car.
Yep.
So that's where he comes in with the 3D scanning stuff. So it's like,
I took Chelsea DeNofa's class that a workshop that he had, and like one of the biggest philosophies I took out of that is just jacking rear,
Yeah.
like, putting weight on the rear.
The recent one, I did his class for, this was in 2014, like years ago.
You're
here.
talking the one that he recently had.
Yeah, the
Was
one
it
that
recently
you
one?
said.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, he did at one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
His sister organized the roof first and all that.
Got it.
so
And
he,
yeah, one of the biggest philosophies was just figuring out ways to get jacking to get the rear end of the car to push weight down. And
Yeah.
that's one of our biggest problems. I'm sure you've seen like our car just lights up the rear end. Like
so
I'm having that problem on my S13. I still have all the anti-squat in it, which I'm working on, but I have the same problem.
yeah.
So like our car it looks cool. It works when it needs to work. But like, we fight a lot of things in comp right now, like IATs. Like our intake air temps
It
are
matches our
absurd.
We were just having a conversation
Like,
about this with the
It's
supercharger.
absurd. Like the whole turbo thing, when the IATs get hot, thing doesn't want to work.
We match intake temps to water temps.
Yeah, dude.
Yikes.
Yeah, dude. Like we are playing
That's
far.
This is the ethanol.
That's worse than supercharger land that I'm
Yeah.
learning about right now.
So the new car, I'm leaving the
You're
purple car
intercooled too, right?
on what? Yeah.
Way under.
Apparently.
That's
Yeah.
the other thing with the way that front crash bar and all that is done. One, it's not planning to get into an accident because you crash, it's connected right to the frame, so it's done.
Yeah, we take a hard impact in that car, and it's gonna be pretty dunzo.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do, well, that's the thing in the rear that I was trying to get at is we're trying to see if we can get some knuckles or not make some custom knuckles to be able to.
So, have you noticed on Bond's car how they have that billet knuckle on the back of their Mustang?
Mm-hmm.
They basically, somebody designed that, obviously, and they have that on their car. So, we're trying to design something similar with like.
Because our diff is like, we scrape it every time we go out.
Really?
Like, then if you try to get jacking on that, you're gonna destroy the diff.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go softer spring rate in the rear just to try to get some of that weight transfer, but
Keep in mind,
destroy the diff.
keep in mind, a lot of the stuff we've learned over the last 4 seasons with that car has all been his brain. Like, he's literally studied and
With Fellow, I won't take credit. Fellow,
yeah, well, Fellow, him, it's a collective thing. It's just he does have a huge impact on that car. Like, I don't drive the car unless he's there and he's like, all right, let's go try this out.
Yeah, we have kind of a similar setup with like our friend Keegan and stuff, who we get used as a resource for those kinds of things.
Like, Natalie's even said, like, oh, if George is not going, like, we're not going driving. Like, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
He knows the car so well. Like, it's hard. Even me being a business owner, knowing everything that I have on the car, like, I couldn't do anything with the car. It's hard.
I think people don't realize too when they see a team, like so you need at least 1 or 2 key people on the team who know the car at least as well as you do.
Yeah.
Like John's car, I know almost every nut and bolt on that car pretty well.
Same with him.
Yeah, it's like whenever we get a new tire tech, I tell people because
and now Frank does.
Frank's in there too. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, go ahead.
But like, no, the rear subframe on the RX7s are super weak. I've done so much to try and reinforce it, but like, I'll tell our tire techs, like, hey, you remove a tire, look back there, see if any new cracks
check it.
out.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
Always chasing cracks on it. It's like one thing we want to do on the new car. Try and raise because right now we have the subframe where the differential sits so low that it has like the engine has to sit at an angle and the diff is looking up. So it's like,
wow.
It's like if we move it up, you're gonna have the axles facing up.
Yeah.
So it's like we're fighting so much stuff.
Fuel Fest recently, I think it was the best the car's ever performed. Like, I felt very comfortable with the car and confident. I was doing laps with Rad Dan.
I saw some of the clips. Like, you were killing it with Dan out there.
Yeah, dude. And that's like, it was literally
a new sway bar.
Dude, I don't know. That's like the happiest I've been with that car in like the last 5 years. Like, me and Natalie went for like we went like back to back in that car. And we've never hot lapped a car.
Like stop, make sure we check, and like I've never had it's funny because he was running on the last few nights at night, and every run he would stop. But this time he was going. He was like, I wanted to get him back out, but he was like, wait, no, we gotta check all out.
Yeah.
I've never had Willy in this mode. Like, get him
yeah.
Keep him like that and keep going.
I get it.
Yeah. But it's like it's cool. It's like I have a lot of driving experience from over the years from different things that I've done in my life. So it's like drifting, it comes kind of like second nature. Like, I know what it feels like to lose control of a car and know, the way a car is going to react. So it's like, the car being 80, like 70, 50% of everything is, a huge thing. So like right now with the new car, dude, it's like we hope to have the purple car act how it acted at Fuel Fest. Because I was driving with Connor, Sully, Rad Dan, like people that have way more driving experience than me.
Yeah.
Way more. Like, but with FD and everything. And just to be there in the moment driving with them at Fuel Fest, I was just like, wow, dude, this is
like you were hanging in there and
this is sick.
Yeah.
Like,
car tandems with, like,
that was the first time I ever did a 4-car train. Like, I've never been
that comfortable with
I've never been that comfortable with the car, and I've never been a fan of doing 4-car trains either, because I'm just like, oh my god, it's a sketch. Like,
we had a great driver lineup for Fuel Fest, though.
That's what I was going to
say.
75% of the grid. Like, I was like, I didn't matter. As long I drove out there, and I was like, I'm just going to pick somebody
and just go.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, like everybody was good. Like,
we're all competitors.
Yeah.
Well, and then even then, I always found somebody I knew behind me. So it's like, not worried.
So it's like one of the things with the car too. Like, I always like when I first built that car, it was one of my dreams to have a comp FD. Like FD legal RX7, I guess you can say. Mad Mike was an idol of mine for many years. So it's like, I want that. And then my biggest mistake with the car was being scared of crashing. Like, I was always terrified to destroy my car.
Tell me about it. It's where I'm at right now. Yeah.
So it's like,
and that's where we're going back to the way that the rear and the front are made. Like, if you crash, I've had ideas to be able to chop it off. I want to go with Cage Kiss because they offer their services to try and redo it so we can crash it and not have to worry about it.
So like 2F Performance, they make those rear quarter pounds are just a whole one piece. Nobody makes it for the RX7, so that's where the 3D scanning came into play.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
that's one of the things he's working on right now. Same thing with like locations for the fuel cell and stuff like that. Like he's been designing that on the computer, which is it's phenomenal.
Mhm.
Like I've learned about 3D scanning throughout the years and throughout the time of just, on Instagram and stuff. Like, oh, this is cool.
People don't realize you can get to the same place. Like you can do trial and error and get there.
Yeah.
But one of the benefits of that technology and engineering is you can get there quicker without as many iterations.
So we have like he mentioned cage kits and stuff. Like I'm helping them design some of their 750 NHRA cages right now.
Stuff.
So it's like I'm going back and forth with them, giving them,
They gave us a lot of knowledge about 3D.
Yeah, so like the
there's
25
mutual benefit there.
like the 25 and a half cage design on a Civic or an Evo or whatever.
That makes sense to me now.
So it's a lot of, it's like one hand shakes the other, but they're super cool people. Like, they're not gatekeeping certain knowledge. They're very easy to work with. So it's like having him doing that at our facility now, it's just like, this is so awesome.
I can sit down with Fellow and we can, because he knows, and like I can show him like what the design. He'll be like, no, because this works like this, and like if it changes, he can see it. We can both see it, and we decide on that as we go along.
New car is not going to be turbo, if you're wondering.
Not happy about that.
You're converting to the dark side with nitrous, right?
No,
Oh,
no. We're gonna do a
good call. I mean, it's
I'm leaving.
expensive.
I'm leaving the purple car in his hands because he deserves it. So
Oh, all right.
yeah. So hopefully, eventually, him and Natalie can take it to the track, and I don't really care what they do with
Keep
it.
it alive because the sponsors like Precision, they are happy with it.
Yeah.
Feel back on board.
I see.
Two car pro am team, or you can be in pro am and Willy be in pro spec.
I can.
No, that would be a thing for Natalie. Natalie fits better than I do in that car.
It's gonna be weird for me this year to be actually like driving and not be. Yeah, I keep saying it. I feel like I need it for my growth, even as his crew chief and spotter and stuff. Like if he goes to pro spec and everything, like I think I need that. I need that under my belt to like guide him better.
Yeah, I agree.
Because all the on track stuff I'm but the tandem aspect of it in that competition setting.
The thing for me is like we have a lot of sentimental value with that car.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't want to take that away from him because he literally took the car from the beginning. Yes, there were a lot of hands and a lot of support throughout the years with the car, between fabricators, between companies or whatever. But like at the end of the day, he was there keeping the car alive. So I don't want to take that away from him. And I was like, screw it. We're going to go buy a whole other FD and we're going to do the new car. That's why that one that we're going to debut at SEMA, if everything goes as planned, either we petition or we earn our FD license the right way.
So I was going to ask you about that. So you definitely are going FD. That's
our goal is to go to Pro Spec. I don't think I want to go fulfill Pro 1 and all that.
Yeah.
But I just want to.
I'm in a similar mindset.
Yeah, I would be very content with like, man, Formula Drift Pro Spec. We did it. We're here. We got that tag. We got that label.
Yeah.
We'll do a year of it, and then after that, probably just go have fun, depending where it takes us.
I don't think people realize how much, even a gap still there is.
There is a huge
in program and funding and
mass.
Like we were looking at the like FD. Like I think the other day we were looking at like the hard cards and the budgeting and. It's insane.
It's not $100.
No, this isn't $100 hard card, pal.
No.
You're not running a business.
Like we're very close to getting the business where we want it to where we can. It may not be 100% self-sustainable, but it will be something where I can leave a tech or two at the shop and I can go do our FD thing and come back, and the shop will still be
at least 4 times a year, right?
Yeah. So like we're getting to the point where we have the budget, we just don't have the time. But we're kind of getting to the point where we're going to be there, and that's what we like. That's what I'm saying. The new car with everything that we're implementing into it, we're not doing a turbo LS anymore. We're doing a Dart 427 now with a Magnuson 2650, basically a replica of Alec Hollandale's car. So minus Motec and all that, because screw all that. That's
he's doing proper Alec Hollandale.
Yeah. So Hollandale
doing budget Alec
Hollandale's a good friend of mine as well. Like I've been friends with Hollandale for many years, man. Like when he first started at CFRC in a blue S14. Like I've had
something we didn't talk about.
Yeah, like I've had relationships throughout the years. Like I fell off my relationship with him as well for a couple, 2-3 years because of my addictions as well. And when I cleaned myself up, he came back around. We went on double dates. We went to freaking Universal 3 times in a row. Like,
That's
like
cool.
we spent a lot of time together off track, which was really nice. That was like kind of one of my highlights. With everybody always wants to be a friend with an FD driver. You know, everybody wants to.
It's pretty cool. Like FD Orlando, and he invites us to his pits. And
But
all that.
Yeah.
that was like at the peak of me having my relationships built in that industry, and it wasn't more of a. He actually looked at me as a friend instead of a, you know.
Fanboy.
Yeah, instead of a fanboy. So like off track, we would go hang out, we would go do whatever.
Yeah.
You know, his girlfriend, Natalie, us, we would go to Halloween Horror Nights, we'd do whatever, and it was all off track, off topic stuff. Like we didn't talk about our cars. We didn't, you know,
Yeah,
it's cool. So it's like growing to like where I'm at now is like I almost bought his car if I had a chance to. Like I was like when I saw it go for sale, I was like, dude, there's no way. But now recently he posted like, where should you take it next? I was like, who knows if it's what they do.
It's still for sale for
Yeah.
the right price.
I'm gonna build. I want to keep it an FD chassis because that is my goal. Was always to have an FD back in Formula Drift.
It'd be sick to see one.
So
Yeah.
the last time an FD was in Formula Drift was
It was Mad Mike, right?
yeah.
He
But
did
he did the
was
MX5.
MX5, yeah.
Yeah, he did the MX5, but there was an FD many moons. It was the Falcon RX7. It was driven by I forgot his name, but it was a Falcon car.
Was it Falcon?
It
Yeah.
wasn't Mohan?
No, it was somebody else.
June. No, this is going
I
way
thought
back.
Mang-
June Mang had one,
I
but
think it was.
it was. I don't think it was a Falcon livery. Maybe it was at one point.
There was a Falcon livery.
It was
RX7.
orange. It was that orange and green
Hankook. No,
for a while.
FDR.
no, that's in
Yeah, that's in the
that's
yeah,
not
Ireland.
FD.
That's not
Yeah.
America, pal. But yeah, like you know, it's like now I want to do everything right with the new car and leave him the purple car so he can do whatever he wants and just
Yeah.
take everything we got from there. Hopefully debut it at SEMA. Hopefully things go as planned and no more turbo because, like you said, we're running 22K springs in the front. Like, let's get out of here.
Wild. That was wild.
We're still gonna be dealing with it up front.
Well, yeah, because you
But it's
have
going
a
to be
similar
in a
problem.
different location.
Right. So instead of having turbo kit hanging 5 feet in front of the
Yeah.
motor, you have supercharger and top.
Are you moving them over back at all, or which you can?
I mean,
I
yeah,
don't know.
as much as we can. Because I was talking to Fello, we could cut the firewall and all that, but it's like there's limitations
Yep.
on the rules in FD to do that.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like we're
Love your
still
cat.
gonna- Yeah,
Your cat's awesome.
The guest star.
I feel like we're still going to be dealing with those problems, but that's why with the purple RX7, I want to use as a test mule for some parts to see
Sure.
if we can gain it. Because I also want to redo the front of
He
the
also-
turbo car.
You can also tell him you designed the rear caliper on that car.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Nice.
nobody
makes a dual
volume
caliper bracket for handbrake.
knuckle, so they fall off. But like, I want to do the turbo car where air to water intercooler, remove the intercooler up front. You know, try and move some weight off of that. But like, I don't know what we're gonna be able to do with the weight.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a problem.
Dealing with ice bags. That sucks.
Well, I mean, that supercharger's still doing heat exchanger. Right? I plan,
You still have IT issues. Yeah.
I plan on doing it like that with the heat exchanger and just the air to water intercooler. I
Yeah.
feel like you could win a little bit because you don't have the heat producing friction supercharger on top of the intake. You know, it's a turbo, but yeah, the weight is always going to be an issue. I feel that's something we're going to have to work with. It's not ideal, but yeah, we're going to have to learn on
That's
that.
where we're at.
Yeah. No.
If we can get the rear end off the ground a little bit, I feel like we can get a little bit softer spring ring in the rear to get some jacking on that, transfer some weight back. But
And that's what the knuckle you're talking about doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Resigning that. I'm debating. I have another cycle of students starting in the summer. I'm trying to figure out what that project's going to be, whether it's like a motor project or suspension
Bring
or a
'em by.
knuckle. Yeah, it's funny to say because I may be working with them to design like a knuckle for the S13. Just again, like
cool machine shop over there, UCF too.
yeah, we do that. We have pretty good resources for at the school. Yeah, for the students.
With our machine shop, ACH, their guy that runs their machines, he's like helped with, or I worked with him, and he's like worked with the manufacturers of, I forget the name of the machines. What?
Haas?
No,
What?
the name of the machines that ACH has.
4 axis, 5 axis?
He used to work for the company that produced the machines.
Yeah.
He works with them. And he has a lot of experience. He's done a V8 Hayabusa.
Oh, cool.
Billy Block. Bunch of cool
We're gonna
stuff.
work with him to see if we can produce those knuckles at some point. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
That's a big key to our whole 3D plans too. Like with him studying mechanical engineering and all that, like nobody really makes FD parts anymore. Like there's literally
Yeah.
nobody, and there's so many people across the world that do drifting in an FD. And
Yeah.
dude, like the day I posted on my Instagram the freaking dual caliper bracket, forget about it. Like
Yeah, we got a lot of time.
Like-
I'll say too, being around for a while, and now that I have the technical background as an engineer, like I can usually tell pretty quickly if somebody like knows what they're talking about or not, especially with engineering. And like
materials is the dead giveaway.
Yeah,
when you start talking about different materials, what you're using them for, it's like you instantly know.
There's a lot of people in this industry that turn their customers into their R&D center, right? They're not going to do it themselves. They're going to sell you it at full price, and like the customers do it, right? Which frustrates me, being where my profession is. So, but I could tell within about 5 minutes of talking to you that like you're the real deal. You know your stuff. Like you're an impressive individual when it comes to this stuff. So, yeah, I mean, like what you're doing is really, really cool, and that capability that you're bringing to the shop is legit. Like
nah, man, he's a little genius, bro.
I can feel overshadowed by some of the professionals we work with on a day to day.
Yeah, so. That's you want. Yeah, that means you're. So
that's still a good thing.
That's always a good thing. Like you want to be around people who do that because it means that you're growing and they're pushing you.
As long as you can, openly ask them the questions.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that was one thing that was impressive to me through your dyno. Right. That's kind of where we started coming around a little bit more, and then talking to you guys a little bit. Is that like you guys are definitely legit. You definitely like technically. Know what you're doing.
We try to cover all the bases. Like,
yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. It's refreshing.
Whenever I talk to customers, sometimes they want to get into something, or they want to build a motor, or they want to do something. Like I don't gatekeep, bro. Like I will give them the whole breakdown. What rod you need to use, what wrist pin you need to use on your piston, like what size valves you should be using. Like, same thing with him sometimes on the dyno. Like
even with materials in the motor, like there's certain. You put an aluminum rod in a motor that's like a drag motor. It's going to be disassembled within a few rounds.
I think what's good about you guys too in this, because we deal with this all the time. We're talking about getting motors built, especially for drifting, right? You get a lot of people from the drag world who have a certain idea of what works for that, and that's fine. That works for drag. That does not work for drifting.
Yeah,
is a very different animal, and so like whenever I have a friend or we're talking about like. Maybe getting a motor built. One of my first questions is, have they ever done drifting motors before?
Yeah,
that's like a dead giveaway right away.
Hold RPM and do all that crazy stuff.
Which then goes to, are you going to be their R&D? Because if they haven't, you're going to be their R&D.
Right.
Yeah.
We were dealing with that with Brian's motor, where he was running a spring that like it works good. Like the titanium.
Okay, so like a lot of this
steel.
Yeah, so like a lot of the like now we're getting into like the realm of building motors, but it's like
we'll wrap it after this, but yeah.
Like some motors, like you're not like a lot of people don't know that they always want to do like a titanium like valve spring or a titanium valve because that's what this guy makes 1,200 horsepower on.
Yeah.
What they don't understand is that the titanium valve and valve spring eats up the valve seat because it's not meant to constantly turn over and drive like a daily. Like that is for a race application for something that's not going to see 20,000 miles.
Gotcha.
As it goes, it loses that over time.
So like some of my
it's not pertinent for like a car you're going to drift or like race or street drive.
So like some of my street like motors, like I have S2000s that make 1,000 on the street. They're 1,000 horsepower build. They run steel valves, no titanium. And they start up every day on the 85 and drive it regularly. I-beam rods, no aluminum rod. Like, there is a way. It is a recipe to everything we do. Same thing with the 2Gs. Like, everybody has their own bias, and by no means are we the best engine builders in the world. We've blown over 100 motors. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has something to say about everybody. Everybody says that they did this, they did that. I don't really care. If you haven't personally done business with us and you haven't personally had a motor built by me, then you can't say anything. But this he say, she say stuff, it only goes so far. Yeah. I don't have all the experience with building motors, but I do have the knowledge. So,
like we were saying about people we know around that have done like surgery.
Yeah, like we have, like I can dissect an entire engine build for you to make what you want. And that's where it comes back to how you were saying, like, we tell you how it is. We're not going to gatekeep information. We're not going to, you want to know about my car. He told you it isn't the best comp car on the field.
Yeah.
It looks cool. Like it makes a bunch of cool noises, but like it is a hassle. It doesn't work half the time.
Yeah, I guess that's one thing. Like when we say like, on paper, how good is the car?
Yeah.
Right. Normally the statistics we're looking at is is it, how much power is it making? What size tire is it running? Kind of some easy suspension stuff like what angle kit is he running? And, does he have like toe gain in the rear or what are they doing for all that forward drive? We never really talk about or think about, the weight or the spring rates or stuff like that. And it's nothing that it's not stuff that we would know or be able to see. We'd have to know the car in order to have that sort of data. Because to be fair, you say it's not the most competitive car on the field. I was saying that about myself last year. And, now that we've talked about it, I really see where you're looking at your shortfalls of what your car was. And I was looking at completely different shortfalls of what my car was. Whereas like you made what I was lacking on paper, you had, but what I had in car, you didn't.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's each and everyone on their own battle.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going back to. You could have all the money in the world, throw it at it, and it's still not going to make it. Or you have to have the experience.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. I threw tons of money at that thing and it barely worked. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Oh, yeah.
I will say this, our motor lasted almost 5 years.
That's sick. That's good.
All right.
Yeah.
That's one thing that we did.
We did 4 seasons on the same motor.
Wow.
Just oil changes. That's
awesome.
And just changing spark plugs.
Making like good power, too.
Yeah. 800
Toby weeks.
THP.
Yeah, THP performance. His son operates it.
That's that
You
machine
should
shop.
never have changed it for last year then.
We started two-stepping for car shows. And
Yeah.
Those car shows that get
Dude, that motor was tired, man.
pulled the bearings out and they're showing copper. And I was like, let's give it a refresh.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming. Like, thank you so much for talking to us and hanging out. And
We can keep talking.
oh yeah, I know you know all night for sure.
Yeah, before you plug your socials and whatnot, where can people find you this year? You have like an event calendar kind of lined up.
Yeah, I can. We're doing all of USDC program this year.
Okay, so June Citrus County, and then we have August the 2-day at Sebring.
Yep.
September OSW.
Yep.
And then
Back
October
to
back to Sebring.
Yeah, Sebring. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a full season of prime again, and then whatever comes in between that we can hit. Fun days. I want to hit as many fun days as I can this year. Hopefully, Holly LS Fest.
Which one are you going to?
I think Texas.
Are you going to Texas?
I don't know.
Come to Kentucky with us.
What's up? Let's ride.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we're doing Kentucky. Yeah, it's a plan at least.
You have some big drag events you got customers at?
So
you could probably find a sponsored drag.
Yeah, so we have a lot of drag cars this year. Our lineup this year is pretty stout. We're hoping to make a pretty big impact at Maryland World Cup Finals.
Okay.
Import versus domestics. So we're gonna have probably the world's fastest 2JZ Starlet. We have a girl that we just sponsored from Aruba that races a mini truck. It's a Toyota 1000 pickup that runs literally sevens. She's crazy. It's a Toyota 5S GT, and it does 7.0 at 197 miles.
Wild.
It's so sick. Check out the King's Performance Shop. You'll see all that on the Instagram and Facebook.
World's fastest Type R.
Right now, we have the world's fastest FK8 Type R, which is a newer Type R. It's a 2018 model.
Okay.
Ivan Ortiz, he just got we're sitting at the number one's world's fastest in that car, and we're aiming for an 8 next time we bring the car out. So. We got Frustrate with EG from Miami. He has the world's fastest K series right now. That's another guy that's been with the company with us for since I started at Kings. Like, you've probably seen his raffles online. He raffles cars, but cool guy.
Backyard.
It is. We got a bunch of all-wheel drive guys coming out. So this year the lineup would be sick. Just check it out on social media.
What's your Instagram?
So my personal one is Poopy Racing. That's PUPII RACINGG. Everybody always spells it wrong. They think it's Dookie, and it's not.
Icebreaker.
I hate that shit. They're like, Poopy like Dookie? No. Screw off. And then the shop is King's Performance Shop. Very simple, very straightforward. Same thing on Facebook. Check us out. If you need anything, let me know.
The website,
shop.kingsperformance.com. You can get our merch. If you play Assetto Corsa, you can drive my RX7 on just to get the download link from the website.
Sick.
It's free. Go have fun.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, YouTube channel also. Yes, we just hit 18,000 subscribers.
Really?
Yeah.
That one's Poopy Racing.
Yeah, it's Poopy Racing as well, just like my Instagram. I'm pretty pumped about that. I've been watching YouTubers online forever, and everybody's always like, oh, you should pick up a camera. And so we hired a media guy. He does all our stuff now.
Okay.
So it's pretty good. We have some good context and some decent content. And
Yeah.
Come say hi to us at the track too. Don't
Stop by the
don't
shop.
hesitate.
Just don't ask about your orders.
No,
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
ask, you can ask
Exactly.
about orders. If you buy something,
Email me for that.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can always ask. I don't
Email the
mind.
shop if you're wondering. Okay, if you see me at the event, say what's up. But
Just don't be that guy
Yeah.
that orders something at 12 o'clock at night and expects the next day for the
Yeah.
answer. Like, dude, you ordered at midnight. There's 50
Where's my
more in
stuff
front
at?
of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but you guys are great. I really appreciate you guys having me over. Rich,
Thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
Temple, awesome. We need
So-
to get some laps in soon.
Yeah,
Looking
definitely.
forward to pitting together. this
Yeah,
year.
I'm looking
Yeah.
forward for some food at the track.
You got it.
I barely eat at the
It's a
track.
promise. It's a promise.
I always have bring 3 coolers. So
Hey, man,
Yeah.
I drink a lot of water and I pour a lot on myself too because I get hot.
Yeah.
you got to get that chill suit. Man.
I have it, but somebody over here doesn't know where to plug it in.
We gotta rewire the car.
Yeah.
And then so next month is Tiny, right?
So technically, we're late on this one
Yeah, a
because
little
this is February's podcast.
Oh.
Well, we don't need to get we don't
We
need to
won't
get
point fingers. That's
It's my
fine.
fault.
We're pointing fingers at somebody else who's ghosting us.
Oh, well,
Because we were talking to you too, but you had your schedule, so we're like, oh, we'll line him up. But
man.
Yeah, I got totally ghosted by a pro-am driver. So here's the thing.
They're missing out.
Yeah,
That's all I gotta say.
I'm just gonna be honestly open with it. So I'm older, right? I have an 8-year-old, well, almost 8-year-old boy. So seeing father-son pairs is really intriguing to me at the track because, like, I'm real close to being that, right?
I know
Right.
what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's something I have a personal connection with, right? Like I'm entering in that age where my son, like this morning, was like, "Dad, I want to get an old junker car and like fix it up." Right? This is him coming up with stuff on his own, right? Yeah. So it's really interesting me to get that perspective from some of the. There's only a couple.
If
but
there's one thing that I could really get to cherish and bring back into like my program now and the person that I am now,
Yeah.
the people I have next to me is having that father-son relationship. Like I wish, like my father is dealing with some health issues now.
Sure.
Like he has, early stage dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff like that. So, sometimes it's tough. Sometimes I call him.
It's not a relationship like that.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And now that I have
Yes.
emotions and stuff, like it breaks my heart sometimes. But
Yeah.
he's a great guy. He's healthy. He comes by the shop. He dances around. He's great. You can see him on our YouTube channel. I gave him a ride in my car. That was
Sick.
cool. You probably,
excellent.
yeah. But like, it's like I wish I could, have that relationship. Like, look, Dad. Like, look what I'm doing now. Like, look at the people by me. Like, I can't. I don't have that. So when I see
Yeah.
people at the track with the father-son thing, it's like, damn. You don't know how bad I wish I had that.
I never had that either.
Like,
yeah. And same.
It breaks my heart because it's like that's
We're
why
all in the same boat.
if I ever
Yeah.
have kids, man, like if they're into motorsports, cool. Like if they're not, I want to do something like that they like and always be there to build something with them because I never got that. I had a really rough childhood and
Yeah.
the little time I did have with my dad, it wasn't really golden. So
Yeah.
it's cool, man.
I always made a joke, like, if I had daughters and they were into ballet, I'd be like the biggest ballet dad, whatever. Like I would just whatever it is. So I'm lucky that I have 2 boys. My older one now starting to show interest, and I haven't like pushed it on them, like other than wanting to have them just learn how to use tools and every kid should have to learn how to do that.
Basic.
Yeah, but and he's starting to show interest in it and wanted to like. He told me today, he's like, I don't know if I want to do drifting, but I want to be like. If the car's like ahead, they're first. So he wants like actual racing. But anyway, so
Drifting's actual racing. Come on now.
I know.
Throw them in go-karts.
That's what we talked about doing. So,
Oh, yeah.
but it's like I said, I want that perspective now from those father
actually happening.
or father child. But yeah. So I was a little disappointed. I had talked to someone a couple months ago and then got completely ghosted.
But also, it's kind of it hits two check marks. So it's not only the father thing,
Yeah.
but we brought the team on to talk about the team.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, nice.
The team operation,
Yeah.
the business, your involvement, stuff like that. We know that father is heavily involved with that
Right.
program,
Right.
and he's got a lot of the stuff we want to ask him questions about.
The views from there, it's got to be
Exactly.
cool.
Like the drivers are cool. I'm not knocking it, but like I said, you're missing such a big chunk of what makes a team, right? That's why we started. It's the genesis of this podcast was wanting to hear, the whole story, that other part that you don't normally get to
and then
hear
for us
about.
to talk about it as we do stuff.
Yeah,
At some point, I'll talk about Fuel Fest or the rounds or whatnot, and talk more about the program and the team, and less about oh, I went out there and I screwed up outer zone 1.
Yeah.
That's what I was telling you, man. I was like, everybody always hears the driver's perspective. It's always probably basically the same. I did this, I did that, whatever. The car's cool, it drives, whatever. Nobody ever hears that he's a full-time student freaking trying to hold this thing together. Like, nobody ever hears that.
Yeah.
Like, they don't hear that. They don't, like,
It's an important perspective. I mean,
it's
with
nice.
any racing, it's like that, honestly.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's not a drifting thing. This is any motorsport.
Yeah.
There's a team of people behind there. You never really get, that story. So
Podcast was great.
I appreciate it. Thanks again.
Of course, man.
And before we sign it off, our next one will be, this was February's podcast, so a little late, but we are doing another one this month with another guest. Not a driving guest, but we will have another U.S. Drift Circuit, Florida guest. And then at some point, probably after that, we need to do some recap on how our cars have been going, testing. We'll have a couple events to talk about and kind of catch you all up on what's been going on this year already.
Yeah,
We've already done Fuel Fest. And we didn't even touch that.
I'm looking
that
forward
much.
to it.
Yeah.
So
We'll definitely be watching.
All right.
Excellent.
Sounds good.
All right, guys.
Thanks.